Hey everybody, before we start this newest episode of the WODcast podcast with your guest for the day, the evening, whatever it is for you, our guest is Mike Anderson of CrossFit Malibu. Very interesting guy who has been in the fitness industry practically his entire life. Great coach, great owner, great, now he's a L1 cert seminar instructor, and had a lot of great things to say. We recorded the episode today down at CrossFit Malibu, but right now I am bumpering the show, so sometimes I have to do these later. I recorded all of this earlier with him and realized the recorder wasn't on because I didn't have Machete with me. We recorded at 9 a.m. and Machete's never seen at 9 a.m. He's like Sasquatch at that time. If he's seen, people are like, I think I saw him. They think they've seen him at 9 a.m., but it was way too early for him. So I didn't make him come up to Malibu where we did the show. We are looking for, Machete does the show practically all the time, or one of his employees. We need an intern. We need someone. The other show, the Bingle show that I do, we've got lots of interns. It's really fun. We hang out. You get to meet all these people. It's a very interesting business. If you're trying to learn broadcasting, podcasting. Anyway, get involved. Just drop me a line at our email is wodcastpodcast@yahoo.com. You can also ask any questions there. You want to know anything about the show or anything that's going on or anyone that we talk about or any of the products that we talk about, I will set you straight. But right now, we are in need of the production capabilities here are amazing, but we do need a couple extra hands, and especially with social media. Doing the social media is a lot more arduous than you think. Posting on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, every time we post a show, pre-show, to ask you guys for questions, and lots of other things, cutting clips. And so if anybody has that, has a skill at that, let us know. You want to come by, want to work on the show. It's a great way to work your way up, and who knows, you could be, an employee like Machete someday. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about the New Wave Swim Buoy. The reason I feel like we need to talk about this on the WODcast is because swimming's a very crucial part of your fitness. If you can't swim, go learn how to swim right now. If you can't swim well, you need this for sure. Even if you swim well, you need one of these. I like to consider myself a good swimmer, and I need this. It is the New Wave Swim Buoy. It's a lightweight inflatable float used by swimmers, triathletes, anyone who's an open water swimmer. Look, you can put it on your kids if you play in a lake. It's great. It's a great concept. It's great because it takes care of your safety in the water. It comes in these really bright colors like neon green, neon yellow, neon pink, neon orange, providing visibility for boats and other watercraft around you. So they see you, they know you're there, they're going to go around you. If they don't see you, next thing you know, you're all cut up, chopped up. You could be all chopped up by a prop from a boat. That'll knock an arm off you. You don't want that. It attaches your waist by this nylon web belt, and it's pulled behind you, and it's so light you don't even know it's there. But let's say you get a cramp in the water. You get tired, you choke on some water, your goggles get knocked off. Whatever it is, you can take a little break and rest on it because it floats really well. And even better, it's got a little pocket in it that is waterproof that you can put your wallet, your keys, your phone, whatever you need in it. So if you just leave the beach and you're like, hey, I'm going to be out in the water for a while, take it with you. If you're in a lake, wherever you are, you take it with you. Say you swim to work. Can't put your clothes in there, though. It's not big enough. But it'll fit a wallet, keys, phone, all that stuff. It's really good. The New Wave Swim Buoy provides visibility in open water, safe place to float and rest while swimming, separate compartment to store your personal items. If you're an avid ocean, sea, lake, or river swimmer, we encourage you to check this out. Go check it out. New Wave Swim Buoys are available on 7 Amazon marketplaces, including the United States, Canada, all 5 European Amazons, UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain. Go to newwaveswimbuoy.com. That's newwaveswimbuoy.com. If you don't know how to spell buoy, it's B-U-O-Y. buoy, swim buoy. So go to newwaveswimbuoy.com or go to your local Amazon marketplace. Enter WODcast 1 when you check out. You're going to get 10% off. How about that? We took care of you. We got you 10% off. So go to newwaveswimbuoy.com and or Amazon, WODcast 1. WODcast 1. A lot of other things going on. As you know, this show runs, we've been doing it for a long time, don't make a lot of money. We appreciate all the help we get. A lot of people just donate out of the goodness of their heart because they love the show. They want to keep it going. And I get it because I have a show I listen to I just donated to. And because I thought that's how it keeps going. Because if it's not profitable, if it's a big, if you're losing money, you just, after a while, you can't do it anymore. And this show it's more difficult than you think to get going each week. But the best way you can help us is at patreon.com/WODcast. That's patreon.com/WODcast. If you don't know what Patreon is, you basically become a patron of the show. You give us money, we give you something. What we give you right now, we're trying to, it's very difficult because the filming is difficult. Every week you can go there and get the episode right away once we record it, even before the iTunes episode comes out. Comes up on Patreon, and you get to see the video version of the show, which I don't know. For some reason, I feel like we need that. I don't know why. I like watching podcasts more than listening to them now. So go there for $3. You give $3 a month, you're going to get the episodes. You're going to get to watch them. If you enter $5 a month is going to enter you into a drawing where we are going to pick a different person each week. We've been doing this for the past few weeks and finding someone that has donated in the past. And what we do is we just randomly pick as we scroll through the iPhone. We find someone that has donated in the past, and you get a Myopux. A Myopux, I don't know if everyone knows what these are, but they're electronic muscle stimulators and TENS machine. A TENS machine, it's the same thing built in once. You put little pads on yourself, and they send an electrical signal in, and one's on a low frequency and kind of buzzing. You feel a little tingling. That makes pain go away. So if you've got bad pain, it's better than icing, and it makes your nerves kind of, it overrides the pain signal, and you don't feel the pain. The other one does kind of makes your muscles contract. It's a little bit more of a pulsating, makes your muscles contract, which is good because you want to keep your muscles moving to kind of encourage the inflammation process, like to flush it out so it goes into your lymphatic system. This is all science that I don't really know, but it's been told to me, and I know because I've used it, and it really helps me recover from injuries really quickly. So if you get injured a lot, I would take care of this and get involved. We also give you a leopard claw. Both of these things, the money, if you buy them, if you go to myopux.com, you buy these, money goes to the Resiliency Project, which takes care of veterans coming back from the war that need help. But we're going to help out you too, because you need it. So leopard claw, Myopux, and let's see. I wanted to give it to this guy because he called us a bunch of cunts, but I can't because it was only $1. You gotta up your deal, dude. It's got to go a little bit more. I'm just scrolling, just trying to find one. Who could it be now? Let's see. Are you feeling? Here it is. Found one right here. Here you go. Mark Siskowski. I think I said your name right. I hope I did. Mark Siskowski. You'd be really mad at me if I wasn't giving you a Myopux and a leopard claw, but I'm giving you those, so you're not going to be mad. Hey, Mark, Congratulations. You'll be getting a Myopux and a leopard claw, and hopefully every time you get injured and you fix your injuries, you'll think of me. So check them out. Thank you to Myopux and leopard claw. They also make sure each of our guests get one every single week. So we can't be more thankful to them. And another thing I'm doing to help you guys out is if you're looking to buy healthy food and you want to buy it at a discount, Costco is a very good alternative. They've got a lot of stuff, but they don't have everything. Thrive Market has everything amazing. And if you go to Thrive Market, if you go through our click-through on our website, WODcastPodcast.com, we get like a kickback from them. Doesn't cost you anything, but they reward us for getting you to do it. So money goes into the show, gets us to keep doing the show. Really good thing. My wife uses Thrive constantly. And if you know about me, I'm a freak about nutrition. I love getting like all kind of natural foods, all organic, no antibiotics, no hormones, meat, chicken, fish, they've got Primal Blueprint dressings. They've got, Mark Sisson's dressings, which are incredible. Almond meal crackers, all kinds of like gluten-free, paleo, just the healthiest shit out there. And go through our website and get that stuff. Just go, I don't know how you do it, but you click through. There'll be a link on WODcastPodcast.com for Thrive. And other than that, I just have some dates coming up. I'm going to be in Spokane, Washington, November 1st, 2nd, 3rd at the, I believe it's called the Spokane Comedy Club. And I just heard from CrossFit Spokane that a lot of those members are coming. That's going to be great. I don't know how tickets are selling at that club. I haven't really looked into it. But it's my first time there. So hopefully I can have a good showing, and I'd love to see as many CrossFitters out there. And I mean, I figure if you listen to the show, you're a CrossFitter, but I like to see everybody there. I like crowded shows. The more crowded it is, the more fun the show is. Then November 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th, that weekend, I'm going to be in Portland, Oregon at Harvey's. I need a gym to work out in, and I want to see everybody from the gym come out. I'm so sick of CrossFitters being like people that go to sleep early, don't drink, and don't go out at night. Come on out. It's a fun time. I'll do some CrossFit jokes for you. Anyone that's ever seen me that's a CrossFitter will tell you I make it a fun time. So 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, I'll be in Portland, Oregon. Harvey's, I know that one is selling well, and that will sell out. So you better get your tickets quickly. All the tickets are at eddyf.com. Vegas, Las Vegas. I'm working at the Comedy Cellar. It's a showcase show, so it's me and some of the best comics from New York City that they put like 5 of us on a show. It's great. I love doing it. It's so much fun to work with all my old friends. You never know who's going to be there. Like this week, David Tell and Colin Quinn are there. I don't know who's on my week, but it's Thanksgiving week. So I'll be there 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I'm there a whole week. So come see me. Come hang out with me. Spend Thanksgiving with me. I'm going to make my wife and child come out there for that. But after that, I got a lot of dates. Going to be in Reno. I'm going to be in South Lake Tahoe. Going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina for one night out in Lake Norman. And Minneapolis, New Year's Eve. So check out all my dates at eddyf.com. Come out and see me. And if you want to get your CrossFit, this is no joke. A lot of times, the club will offer me comp tickets on Thursdays, Sundays. And what I like to do is go to your gym, work out in your gym, work out with you, and then invite all of you. Bring your whole gym. It's a great community activity. Come out. I'll put on a show for you. And I'll comp you if the club will let me. Sometimes they won't let me because I'm on a guarantee and they don't want me to, they want to make money. But I don't care about making money. As you can tell, I'm sitting in a bus that I wasted thousands of dollars on that my wife's going to divorce me over. But come out and you can get a hold of some tickets if you contact me at WODcastPodcast@yahoo.com. And I think that's all. So I'm sorry this was really long, but, go get yourself a New Wave swim buoy, get on our Patreon, come see me at Spokane or Las Vegas or Portland or any of the other places. get your food from Thrive Market. And if you want to be an intern, let us know at Yahoo. What is it? WODcastPodcast@yahoo.com. Now I'm going to start the show with Mike Anderson, like I should have a long time ago. Welcome to the WODcast podcast. I am sitting here at CrossFit Malibu, right outside of CrossFit Malibu, in their parking lot, which we look like we're on the set of MASH right now because your gym is a Quonset hut.
It is. It's a Quonset hut that was probably put here back towards the end of World War II.
That is Mike and
predates MASH because that's Korean War.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, wait. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. Mike Anderson. Head coach, owner of CrossFit Malibu. I've known him, friend. I've known him. I've worked out under him. Genius of a guy. Been in fitness his whole life. It was nice enough to do the show. We are here. I actually live fairly close to this. It's the closest CrossFit gym to me, and
basically over the hill.
And I come here how often?
You've been here a handful of times.
I should be here all the time because I'm terrible working out alone. Terrible.
Come on back.
Group fitness works because they go like this. 3, 2, 1, go.
You come in, the workout's on the board. You don't have to do anything except for the actual physical work.
Yeah. Shut the hell up, Eddie, because you're talking to everyone, and get to work.
I think the last time you were here for a group class, it was back squats. So my job teaching that class was getting Eddie back under the bar to do another set of 5 squats. So it was probably a 5x5. It's like we had 4 or 5 5-minute comedy shows in between the 5 sets of 5 back squats.
Jeremy Tooman told me for a guy like me that I should do EMOMs all the time.
Because you get 30 seconds of work and another 60 seconds to hang out.
Yeah. I need that beep, go.
Yeah.
Go. You have to go. That's one of the reasons I feel like CrossFit has been so successful is that it's so hard to motivate yourself. But the fact that it's no, I used to go sometimes into Gold's Gym and work out when I was younger, and I would be there 3.5 hours.
And you'd get in a total amount of 27 minutes of actual work under the bar.
Because I knew everyone there, and we'd talk, we'd sit down, we'd eat, we'd leave, we'd go see a movie, come back.
So, I wonder if you were ever there when Glassman was coaching. I don't know if it was early 90s.
Was he a Gold's Gym guy?
Gold's Gym Venice. That's where he coached his...
Shut the hell up.
He was there. Yeah, that's what he was doing there. And I don't know if he was there for a year or 18 months, but he was there for a while.
I never knew that.
Before he moved up to Santa Cruz.
So you're on the seminar staff now.
I am. Just recent. I'm you couldn't be a more new
How many have you done?
Staff. 1.
Where'd you go?
I was at Rancho Cucamonga.
And how was it?
Last week. Not this past weekend, but the one before. It was amazing.
Really?
It's amazing. You get 40-something individuals. Many of them, I'd say a handful, 6 or 8 people are revalidating their level 1, like they own a gym or they're coaching at a gym. And then you get 25 to 28, to 30 people that are not necessarily fairly new to CrossFit, but they've never done the level 1. And it's an interesting experience to get people together, to get 4 or 5 level 1 seminar staff that really, if you've ever had to, for your job, kind of go to workshops or trainings, this is probably one of the best, if not the best, workshop or training that you will ever go to. From the content that's there, clearly it's world-class knowledge being, given directly to the people that are there. But there's not a single minute wasted. There is the perfect balance of the intellectual, philosophical, theoretical side of it, as well as the actual the work experience, getting to do, the breakout groups, muscle up, pull ups, all of that kind of thing. It's really, everyone should go.
And how long is it? 2 full days?
It's 2 full days. It's something like 8 to 5 on Saturday and 8:30 to 5 on Sunday.
And it never gets boring?
I've only done 1, so I'm not bored. But
you're doing a full 8-hour days. So.
Oh, it's full 8-hour days. It's funny to say, but the intensity level of that weekend it's always on. It's basically 16 hours of high intensity information and activity being brought to the participants. It's exhausting.
The reason I ask if it's boring, I don't think it would be boring to anyone out there that is going to do it.
Right.
Because that's what they want to pursue and that's their interest and that's their life, and I think it's a great thing to do. I wouldn't discount it at all. I'm saying
from the instructor side of things.
No, I'm saying for me, I'm being selfish here.
Okay.
I'm just considering. I have no L1. Like, I go to gyms and people are like, you're practically, you've been around this long enough and you've been around CrossFit, enough.
Sure.
I'm like, no, there's a lot I don't know.
I've got a great example for you. We've had two physicians just did the MD level 1 at Aromas a couple of weekends ago. One of them has been coming here for 7 years, the other one for 6 years. So they both went to that kind of thinking, oh yeah, we've been doing this for a long time. We know what it's about. They came back not only re-energized and reinvigorated for their own CrossFit program, like for their own fitness, but they're like psyched and motivated to incorporate it into their medical practice.
That's amazing.
Like one's an eye surgeon, the other one's an emergency room trauma physician. So I can imagine Dr. Joe in the ER, at UCLA, if someone comes in with like issues with blood glucose, like she is going to be preaching CrossFit. And now this is someone that's been doing CrossFit for 6 years, but the level of sort of focus that they got into over that weekend increased just her love for CrossFit. Like it's amazing what it did for like to reinvigorate and motivate her, to motivate other people to do it. Does that make sense? Like,
no, it makes total sense. And the reason I want to do it is because I feel like to host this show, I'm kind of I'm not a hater, but I'm always, I'm a comedian. I poke people, but it'd be nice if I had a little more insight, and it'd be not just insight to have expertise and knowledge,
sure,
but also some more shit for me to make fun of.
I was just going to say, it'll give you more material.
Yeah.
So you'll have 16 hours of experience that you can...
I mean, it'd be like I'm spending $1,000 to write some good jokes.
it would be well worth your while, because not only would you get that, but you, even as a longtime CrossFitter, it would be a good experience.
Anybody out there want to sponsor my L1 cert?
The Patreon.
I probably could. No, CrossFit would never give me a waiver. It'd be funny if they did, to let me go take it.
You got to put it out there.
Yeah. Hey, CrossFit, if you want to let me come to an L1 cert, I'll come to one of yours.
So that'd be great. Now,
are you going to be traveling, or are you going to be doing local ones?
A little bit of both. I think for the first while, it sounds like I'll be at more local ones, like this one in Rancho Cucamonga.
Is that a good thing? Because I know you have twins. So do you want to go travel? Because I have one kid, and I miss my kid when I leave, but every once in a while I'm like.
It was actually funny that it was tough to be gone for an entire weekend. I don't travel a lot without them. We travel a lot with them, but to be gone for basically almost 2.5 days. It was a commitment. So
I get as soon as I travel, I'm kind of relieved of like, oh, I get a break. But the second I see a little kid, I miss my daughter.
Yeah, you start flipping through your photos on.
Yep.
I mean, that's the way in the hotel. Like that's getting ready to go to bed, and you look through the pictures and watch some videos, and like, God, I wish I was home. Like that.
It used to be after my show, I would go out drinking, try to meet a girl, hook up, like that was it. Now it's like people are like, hey, you want to go get a drink? I'm like. No, I'm going to
videos of my daughter.
Go home, and maybe if it's early enough, I can FaceTime my wife and daughter, or just go, look at pictures and videos and edit something of them and cry.
That's it.
It's terrible to be away from them.
But that's like, I'll organize my gym life here. My Monday through Friday works to accommodate having a weekend in the middle of the week or something like that. So it's tough to be gone all weekend. There's people that have been on the level 1 staff for 10 years that have done 400 of them. And what I was going to say about that is that you see them get up there and give the presentation on what is CrossFit, or they're running a 1-hour group on the squats, the air squat, the front squat, and the overhead squat. And I'm telling you, they bring this level of energy to it as if they won't ever get a chance to teach it again. I mean, it is...
Well, the hard part about it is you are teaching to coaches. So
that's it.
So you have to be at the top of your game,
without a doubt.
Because not only are they judging what they're learning from you, they're judging you like, "Hey, man, you better be better than me."
But without a doubt,
I'm judging you based on like I can do this. It's like I go back every once in a while and do open mics because I think they're hard to do.
Oh, right. Just get up.
Because it's all comedians in the room.
Got it.
And they're the hardest people in the world to make laugh.
Yeah.
So I go into an open mic and I'm thinking, like, these guys are all looking at me like, why are you a headlining comedian and I'm not? you better be fucking great.
So you got to be on your game.
Most comedians won't do it because it's intimidating.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just did one the other night. I went out to the Ice House, and our show had been canceled, and they said, "Oh, we're having an open mic next door, and do you want to go on it?" And I was like, "Oh, here we go."
And up the ante.
Yeah, and so I can imagine that's what it's like.
It is. It's intense. The the idea that people are coming in to revalidate something that they've been doing. In some cases, there was a guy. You interned for a certain period of time. Your tryout before you get hired. But
who did you intern under?
A number of different people. Okay. It's always sort of revolved. But there was a guy who from the South Bay who his gym's been open for 10 years. So clearly this was like his third time around revalidating his level 1. And so, yeah, it's,
does it get to your ego at all? Did they challenge you?
Yeah. I mean, I think your ego is, it's challenged from the very beginning because when I'm here at my gym, which I've had for 9 years, like this is my place. Like you don't come into my gym and question what I'm telling you. But then you're in somebody else's gym. You're with people that you don't know. You're in a group of, you're coaching 12, 13, 14 people at a time in a circle. And here, I don't know, you saw that class had maybe 10 people, and that's a big class. Like our classes are 4 to 7 people on average. So just to be in a bigger group of, there's 50 people at the level 1, and you rotate through all of them. And I'm expected, at least I expect myself, to know everybody's names, and by the end of an hour, have enough contact and know enough about the individuals in those movements to have improved their movement in a single hour session. So that's the
reason I asked that is because I know from my experience, I have traveled around the world to a million different CrossFits. I'm no expert in any way, shape, or form. Far from it. But there are times when I go into a gym and they're like, "Have you ever CrossFit?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've been doing it for like 10 years or whatever, 12 years. I don't know how many it is. It's a lot now, maybe 10 years or something." And they're like, "Have you ever CrossFit?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And probably every single time I have a coach come up to me and coach me and say,
try this,
do this, or you're doing this wrong, or this is. And every once in a while it gets to my most times I'm like, "Oh, that's a good tip. That's a very good point."
Yeah.
But a lot of times, not a lot of times, but a few times it's like, "No, you're wrong." And in my head I'm going, "You're an idiot. And how dare you come up to me and tell me?" And I could be wrong too.
Sure.
But I'm like, I think I've heard from people that are more knowledgeable than you where I'm supposed to be pulling from. Or and I would say 90% of the time it's on the snatch.
Is it really?
It's always on the pull.
Like setup position or first pull, second pull?
First, second pull. I think everybody's got
their own
a little bit of a different interpretation of it. And so everybody wants to give you theirs, and it's like, hey, if I start listening to everybody, I'm going to be all over the place.
Right. Especially because you travel so much and you get a lot of input from a lot of people. You remember, this just came into my mind, back, it's got to be 7 or 8 years ago when Sean Waxman had this ongoing feud with a guy from Georgia named Don McCauley about an interpretation of, Don McCauley talked about the catapult, like that's his version of teaching someone how to Olympic weightlifting, like the drive through the middle.
Okay.
And so he and Sean Waxman went back and forth on Facebook. It was just comical, if you know Sean.
Like, yeah. We've had him on the show a bunch of times.
Yeah, for sure. This is science. Biomechanics. I mean, it's not art. Like, there are artistic ways to coach, but the way that you pull and the mechanics of an Olympic lift are dictated by the powers of science. Like, there's no art to it. So this guy Don McCauley was talking about a catapult technique and changing what Sean thought, what Sean knew to be the truth. It was a really funny back and forth thing.
It was like the old. Do you remember the Kelly Starrett thing about
knees out?
Yeah, from valgusing or what, and keeping knees out and thinking. But he was doing it as a cue.
Yeah, it's not
it's
not the rule. It's
Do you remember when they kind of not sabotaged him, but what's it called when you get
like spoofed him from the Chinese lifters with the
they had a whole bunch of guys. What's it called when they're like hiding? They ambushed him. They had him come on a show, and they all kind of went at him about how this is improper.
Right. Okay.
And he was saying, well,
Didn't they do some panel?
Yeah, that
like,
was it.
They
That was
had
it. And
okay.
it was kind of like an ambush. It was really weird. I remember seeing it and going, "Why is this happening?" And
so like on the level 1, a squat, an air squat, the weight in the heels, clear. It's a cue. The weight isn't completely in the heel with all of your weight leaning back. It's a cue for knowing that your body weight is balanced over your foot in an equal manner. So a cue is different than a scientific truth. It's a way to get someone to do what you want them to do.
And I think it's great that everybody's got these opinions and everything. At the end of the day, science is science, but there also are theories and things that can get you to get to somewhere. I taught skiing growing
Science
up.
changes.
I taught skiing growing up, and there's a million ways to teach someone to ski, and sometimes you find the best skiers and you're like, they don't know how they do it.
It's like musicians that don't read music. Like that's not something that has to be done in a certain way. But
they took Joel Parkinson, who was the world champ surfing, had him coach these little kids one day, and the kids were asking him questions. They're like, "Well, how do you do that at the bottom turn when you turn?" He goes, "You bam, you do it." And
that's perfect.
And I learned to ski like that, but then I was taught to teach.
Right.
And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I just did those things because naturally that's kind of how I learned how to do it.
Sure.
And now you've studied it and understand it. So I see a lot of times with coaches going, do it this way. And I was like, I got up the rope.
Yeah.
And I came down. And you can make it more efficient, but people get a little crazy.
For sure. And I've been teaching ever since I was in college. Like I didn't know I was going to be a teacher, but no, I had no idea I was going to end up teaching. But that's the idea.
You did exercise sciences, right?
I did exercise science. I didn't know what I was. At that point, I thought I was going to go to medical school.
Oh, okay.
And I'm a PE teacher.
That's hilarious. I was just going to say you're the most overqualified PE teacher in the world. And it's funny that you had intentions of med school because most people want to be a PE teacher because they want like the easiest life. Right. Hey guys,
roll out the ball. I'm going to read a newspaper.
You're a captain. Pick a team, and here's the ball.
I'll be over here chewing this tobacco,
playing with my balls.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got
tight shorts.
But meanwhile, you have every certification in CrossFit. You have I saw your criteria. You have everything.
Tons of stuff.
Everything.
Yeah.
And so you take it really seriously.
I do, and I don't at the same time. Like this idea of all we have to do is get across a message, and we do it whatever works best for the athlete. And sometimes it's as simple as jump higher. Yeah. And if that works, that's all it takes. And a lot of people, I think we end up complicating it.
Does it bother you when gym members coach?
It's so funny because one of the physicians that just came back from the level 1, again on fire, like it was Monday morning and we had a new, woman at the gym or whatever. And I think we were hang power cleaning with a set of dumbbells, and I was giving her just a thing to think about, right? A thing to try and execute. And I see Dr. Deb over there in the back, and like she walks up to her and she looks at me and she goes, "Can I say something to her?" I'm like, "Absolutely, go ahead." She gave her a couple pointers, and it worked great.
It's hard for me because of all my experience. Every once in a while, I'll be in a gym and I see the coach dealing with something over there, and I see somebody,
an athlete getting in,
and I don't want to impose, and I don't want to, I can see it being really annoying to the coach.
Yeah, I got it.
But
okay.
I want to go, no. Stop bending your back there. You're rolling your shoulder, and just go like real quickly.
Exactly. Well, I've been to not as many gyms as you, but I stopped counting at about 70 or 80 to just drop-ins. And I always drop into gyms. Like in Rancho Cucamonga before the level 1, I went Friday night and I did the class. Like they asked, do you want to do your own thing in the corner? Like, no, I want to be in a class with people telling me what to do and motivating me to go faster, that kind of thing. But being in a class, being at all those gyms, I've seen a lot of stuff, and I don't say a thing except for one time. There's, the squat rack backs up against the kettlebell rack, and a guy's got a bar that like it's his third time ever CrossFitting. He just keeps sliding plates on, and you just am waiting for him to fall back and the bar to go into the kettlebells, kettlebells to fall down. Yeah. the only time I asserted myself in a situation like that.
I did it. I didn't do it. One time I feel like I should have. And I've told this story years ago about you've probably heard me talk about the German mom, Russian dad.
There
was a coach, I think it was in Atlanta, Georgia. There was a coach in this CrossFit that I went into, and he was a young kid. He was like 17 years old, and he's coaching the class.
Okay.
And he's huge. And he had some like 600 or 700 pound deadlift, some crazy astronomical deadlift. And I said, "Oh my God, how do you do that?" And he goes, Russian mom, German dad.
Okay.
And he was coaching class, and he knew not. He was a strong fucker, but he didn't
know anything.
The first thing about CrossFit.
Right.
And somebody asked him how to do a muscle up, and he started coaching it. And I was like, "They're not ready
to be up in the rings." Yeah.
And he just started saying, "Well, grab here,
swing here,"
and he was like,
jump up and see what happens.
Jump up and then just like get under it. And I was like, you're gonna blow out their shoulders.
Yeah.
You're gonna really hurt somebody. And I'm sitting there biting.
So you felt the moral obligation, a duty to get in there and stop it.
But I was doing like kind of just shaking my head like, don't do this.
Right.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to. And I walked out of the gym going like, they should shut this fucking place down. This guy's going to kill people. And that was like 8 years ago. And people complain about bad coaches in CrossFit. I really haven't seen anyone bad
except for that.
Right.
Well, the level has gone up year after year
crazy.
after year.
It's crazy.
Right.
Everyone's qualified.
Right.
There's a few that I'm like, oh, this guy's not at the level of some of the people.
And
I've
it's
worked
like,
with.
we have a coach that just started about it. Well, she's been going through the coaching, like the apprentice process, the coaches prep stuff. And she's a new coach. Like there are new doctors, there are new auto mechanics, and they go through the learning process. And she does a great job in the class, but there's limitations. If someone asks her something very specific, she doesn't have the experience or the body of knowledge to answer in the same way that a coach that's been doing this for 10 years would. But that's different. I
love that you talked about the doctors going to it because I'm going to bring this back to an experience of mine, which I always do. I just went and got my physical. I won't say who my doctor is. And not happy at all because...
was he supposed to make you happy?
Well, I mean, I did get my balls grabbed. I was happy about that. But just the way it's all computerized.
Oh, I see. The experience of being in the doctor's office and the visit
and
itself.
As any kind of issues I have, the information that was relayed to me felt so antiquated.
Oh, for sure.
And I was going over it with Dylan.
Yep.
And he was like, "What are they trapped?
The blood work."
Yeah, he's like, "Are they trapped in 1970?"
Yeah, right.
And I love Chris Kresser, so anything I get, I go then look at what he says, and it usually contradicts most of
what's
they're
said in the
telling me.
office, right?
And hearing him on that Rogan episode where he talked with the cardiologist, it's like this guy knows his shit. It's so obvious that he knows his shit so much, and. So, like, even I've got friends that are doctors that'll even admit to me
that it's beyond the scope of what
they weren't taught this at all. They
Without
don't
a doubt.
know anything about it. You know, everybody talks about that 6 hours of nutritional study that they get in medical school. And
right.
That's it. And, and I say to every doctor friend how much of it, and they're like,
we didn't really go over it. Well, like even after the MD level 1 that my friends went to a couple weekends ago, they had basically a talk on. They had 4 different physicians come in and talk about the myth of or the over focus on cholesterol as a marker. I mean, that's going on hardcore in CrossFit now.
By the way,
CrossFit Health.
My numbers came back on my cholesterol, and Dylan said they were off the charts, like excellent. I eat bacon every single morning of my life. I eat more fat than anyone could ever eat, and so, it could be genetics. No one in my family's immediate families had a heart attack. But if that's any indication, I eat gobs of fat.
Right. Yeah.
I don't.
Well, I would love to have, and I have to say I haven't pursued it, headlong to try and find this, but a doctor that will refer patients to me, people that have just like somebody that's borderline diabetic.
I think
and we've had numerous we've had a guy with type 2 diabetes that is completely off of his medication. He's in his 60s, and a handful of others that have been sort of borderline that have
I don't
fixed
think
themselves.
it's not part of what the AMA, their policy, because I've talked about this on the show, but a doctor friend of mine, I asked him once about, he put my dad on a statin, and I said, why?
Yeah.
My dad's got a shitty diet. And I said, why would you put him on a statin? And he said, because these numbers are high. And I said, but no one in our family's ever had heart disease. I said, forgive me if I'm wrong. Isn't it necessary, and there's inflammation there that's causing the cholesterol to come? He goes, yeah, but the cholesterol clogs his arteries and he'll die. And I said, but shouldn't we get rid of the inflammation that's causing the cholesterol? And he goes, yeah, but that's lifestyle oriented. I can't do that. The AMA dictates that I have to prescribe this drug.
Right.
And I said, so like off the record, we should work on getting his diet better so that he no longer needs to take the statin.
Right.
He goes, yeah, but I can't
do that.
And I go, but you can recommend that. Like, this is where, and he goes, but you're not.
We have a guy here who's been on statins for a long time. He's in his mid 60s, and he's been frightened by so many people that's not. It's part of the practice. Like, statins go with anybody that has anything to do with a heart issue. Like, they have to take statins.
I talked to Rob Wolf about it, and he's like, it's the AMA's goal to get the entire population on statins.
And my dad, he's not of good health, but about 10 years ago, he was prescribed a statin. 2 to 3 months into it, he realized that he was losing muscle mass, like that he physically was not as strong as he was before. He just stopped taking it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it just categorically stopped taking it.
I think it caused my dad, if I could be wrong, but I think it caused my dad's numbers that indicate like the prostate problems to go up. I think it has that kind of side effect. It's really weird that they want that. The issue that I found, which I've been reading a lot about Chris Kresser, is I was having indigestion, and it was just a random like bout of it that came out of nowhere. Came after I was eating really shitty.
I was going to say you're drinking LaCroix every night.
I do drink a lot of
seven.
I had to stop.
Cans of
I had to get off the LaCroix.
That is. That's the best advice my doctor ever gave me. Was he goes, how much sparkling water do you drink? I'm like, 4 or 5 a day. He's like, just stop that.
Yeah.
I had some.
Yeah.
Like regurg.
Well, so I had GERD, and I had it twice. I had it once. I was in Alaska, and I couldn't find any good food. I went out drinking. I ate pizza all night and then I was like, I had coffee the next day. I don't drink coffee. All of a sudden, chocolate. I was just a mess. And so I called my doctor friend, cardiologist, and he's like, you need to take
this medication to combat the acid and
Zantac, or Galveston. And so I was like,
how about get in the gym, lift a little bit, and eat a salad?
I was about to go do what he told me because it was so bad.
Yeah.
And then I went, I'll Google around and see. And Chris Kresser's like, every single doctor is going to prescribe you these acid inhibitors.
Right.
When the problem is probably not enough acid in your stomach.
In your system, yeah.
And he said, you need the acid there. Take some apple cider vinegar, or you could have H. pylori, which requires an antibiotic, but it's probably just a lack of acid and your carbohydrates are building up because you're eating high carbs.
All the high carbs
they're fermenting and they're getting bacteria, and it's causing gas in the body and pushing your lower esophageal sphincter up. And I was like, that makes so much sense.
Right.
I go to my physician to get my physical. I tell them what's going on, and I get there's this over-the-counter drug called Zantac. And I was like, goodbye.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, when can I get a doctor who's actually...
Well, that brings up the whole thing with... I'm not paid by Steady MD, but all of the functional medicine doctors that like Julie Fouché and Daniel Arroyo, I'm not sure I said his name right, but Julie Fouché's husband, they are a group of physicians that are going specifically into family practice to work in functional medicine.
Well, good for them. It's because everybody knows that business does not pay well.
Yeah. Well, can you imagine seeing Julie Fouché as a doctor and have her like, if you didn't know anything about CrossFit and she sits down with you and says, eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar, right? That delivers a message of eat real food, don't eat shit. That's that is the prescription. I mean,
when we interviewed our pediatricians,
right.
when my wife was pregnant, we went around and she said, "This is what you do. You interview pediatricians." And I was like, okay. So I would go with her, and I didn't know what to ask or what was important, but we asked about vaccination schedules, because we didn't want to get all the vaccines
bombarded on the same day, right?
And but we're not anti-vaxxers, but we were like, let's not get them bombarded,
right?
And
what was the other one? Diet.
So that was the one question I would ask. I would go, "What do you think about the child's diet?" And they would always say, try to get them to eat good foods and. But, you want them eating a lot and because kids, they can get fickle and, so you find a food they like.
And stick with it. I mean, that's...
And I went, I would just go, "Thank you." And I'd walk out and I'd look at my wife. I'd go, no,
without a doubt.
So then my friend, who is he's a celebrity, he was like, "Oh, you need to go to my doctor." And I was like, okay. Where's the catch in this?
Right.
And he's like, "You're going to love her. She's amazing. She doesn't take insurance."
Right, of course
and
not.
I was like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, so he's like, "Oh, it'll just be like $3,000 to $6,000 a year." And I was like, "What the fuck?" So my wife's like, "We're going." So we go. It's in Santa Monica. We go to this doctor. We walk in. It's beautiful. She goes, "Oh, this is our sick room. This is our healthy room. Like, if you're sick,
you separate.
You come in this room, so you separate so the kids don't get the other kids
That makes
sick."
sense.
She goes, "I'm sorry." She goes, "You're going to notice we don't have toys because I don't want germs on the toys."
Spreading it around all the kids when they come in.
I'm a Nazi about sunscreen. Not like I put on like a Hitler mustache.
Gestapo?
Right there. I'm very particular about zinc.
You specifically?
Because I surf every day.
Our kids
I wear zinc only with no nanoparticles.
Right.
There's a kind that I like called Badger, which I will argue is the best sunscreen out there in the world.
Yep.
I walk in, she's got it on the counter.
Another check.
And I'm like, gosh,
she's hitting it all.
She knows her shit.
Right.
We go and I said, "What should the what do you think about diet?" She's like, "I really want your kid only eating non-processed foods." And she's like, "You need to."
Other than that, you can come up with your own theory, but
and she went, "I don't know if you guys are vegetarians or you're paleo." And I'm like, "Who are you?"
That's exactly.
And this
seems
is
so
why
simple.
you're getting paid more than. And she's like, "No processed foods." And I just walked out and I go. And she said, by the way, she said, "I don't prescribe antibiotics very often. I think that your body, child's body,
we'll do a culture if it's a bacterial infection.
Then I'll give it to you here." She's like, "We keep it here, the antibiotics, so that you don't have to go to the pharmacy and you can get it right away and catch it, and so you're not on a long." And I was like, I walked out and I'm like,
"That's it.
I guess we're paying $3,000 to $6,000, and it's been well worth it." My daughter's very infrequently sick, and
it all starts there. Like our kids eat really well. Like when they're at school, they eat broccoli. They actually take the fork and they stick it into the broccoli and put it in their mouths. And it's not as if it has to be, they like to be fed sometimes as well as kids do, but they eat real food, and that's key. They had their first ice cream cone this past summer.
Yeah, and it blew their. Did they?
It was like a party about it. Like today, you're going to have your first ice cream cone. And
did it blow their mind, or were they like, "This is a little weird"?
Well, about a year before that, we bought paleo kind of coconut ice cream. Yeah. My son took a bite, too sweet, and then went off and was playing. My daughter tends to like things that are sweeter, so she was.
Yeah, my daughter likes sweet too, so she likes a lot of fruit. And we do let her have fruit. Yep. And every once in a while we have, I give her dark chocolate, or I'll give her, she's had ice cream. And, I go by the John Wellborn, like, don't be a weirdo. Like, she goes to a party, she can have, but I've seen her. She'll go over, she'll like eat a couple bites of cake and go, eh.
That is ingrained in our being, actually. I mean, the idea of like, we're not gonna, like, my kids know when they're done eating because they're done eating. They have a feeling of full. Yeah. And what they actually normally say is, "My stomach hurts."
Yeah.
It's because it means they took one bite, and you know how small their bites, they took one bite too many and they knew they were done.
Right.
But adults, or anytime after age of 12 or whatever, we get that feeling of full and we just want more, and we eat more and we eat more. And it's as simple as eat, and not even until you're full, eat some food and then you're done.
Yeah.
Like it's not
well,
about...
the sugar does that. I mean, I've read so much about sugar addiction. I've been off sugar for about a month and a half now, and it's been incredible. Like it's been incredible how I feel. I still have the cravings. When they say your cravings go away, bullshit.
Yeah.
But my one can of Zevia will
makes you, it stimulates now I'm going to have
it. That's all I needed.
Right.
We had a whole bunch of kids. You should go over to the thing over in King Gillette Ranch the night of the jack-o'-lantern or whatever.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Malibu Creek State
we took
Park.
a whole bunch of kids there last night, and I made chocolate brownies for them. The maple syrup, the almond butter. If you haven't had these, it's the easiest recipe in the world. In a skillet, you just mix in almond butter, like a cup of almond butter, 3/4 cup of maple syrup, half a cup of cocoa powder, and a 1/4 cup of butter.
And you need a piece like this big.
Yeah, it's all you need is a tiny piece. It's so rich. The maple syrup, makes it so sweet.
So sweet.
But it's all paleo, and it's way better than giving them one of those cakes with confectioner sugar,
Oreo cookies, and all that kind of stuff.
So, if you want that recipe, email me. I've given that recipe to
Patreon. Put it out on Patreon.
I will. I'll put it on Patreon. That recipe and the pancakes. My daughter eats in the morning. You mash up one. You mash
a banana
up one banana, one or two
like almond
tablespoons of almond butter, one egg, and you mix it up, and it makes.
Oh, not even almond flour or anything.
No, almond butter, and it makes the greatest pancake.
Oh, got it.
I would eat that pancake over a regular pancake.
Yeah, exactly.
Any day, like
you know what it feels like when you have.
We had a
go to a restaurant and have a couple of pancakes.
Crazy Bobby and I had a pancake making contest one time in Marriott.
Yep.
Bobby's life partner. She judged.
Yeah.
And she's obviously going to be on Bobby's side, but she was like, "Sorry, Bobby, he beat you
with that pancake."
He made buckwheat pancakes, and I made these, and they're both like super healthy pancakes.
Yeah,
right. But they're just and it's one banana.
That's it.
One banana is going to make you like three pancakes.
Right.
So why the fact anyone's ever making those shitty, fluffy, gross Denny's?
That's good. I mean, this nutrition thing it's so simple with eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds. Like that whole idea, like you can do zone, you can use macros to count things. And of course it is nice at some point in your career as a CrossFitter or as an eater, right, to quantify what you're eating. But going the quality route and just picking things that are real, right? Eating unprocessed real food. So
I think they say there's a stimulation in your brain. Your brain actually makes you like the food more when you know it's healthy.
You know it's good.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
It like sends a signal that makes you want to eat more of it. When I take my openers with me on the road, so I'll always bring a feature act. Sometimes I'll bring an opener.
Oh, okay.
And
I thought you meant like a bottle opener.
No. I have to have guys open for me.
Okay, got it.
Time before me.
Right.
And part of it is like I'm their boss kind of thing. Yeah. It's sort of.
They're like interning or something. Like,
well, it's sort of like they're there because I brought them.
Right. Okay.
They wouldn't have been there without me. Right. So they're kind of, there's things you do to be a good opener. You're a good hang. You sell my merch, and it's not me. It's all comedian. And if you want to be a good, and it's a great way to like go to
put your name out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people open for somebody and the next thing they're a big star because of it. And no, I'm not saying they'd be that for me. I'm just saying you want to be.
Sure.
So when I go, hey, I'm going to eat, they go, hey, I'll come with you, rather than where are you going? And I go, I'm going to this fucking health food place or Whole Food. Right. And they go, well, I'm going to
go to In-N-Out. Yeah.
And usually I buy.
Right.
So they're like, I'll come with you.
Yeah, right.
But all of them, except for one guy, except for Joe Prano, my friend Joe, I'm switching them all over. They're all like, hey, this is really good. I didn't know that you can eat like this. And it's good. And you're eating steak.
And it's like you said about the brain, like it's what I've called the success to the successor feedback loop. Like loop, when you get something that actually is good for you and it feels good, it sort of gets the ball rolling, and then you want to do it again. And then you do a workout that makes you feel good, and you want to do it again. And then you want to eat well because you want to feel good in the workout, and you want to do it again. So it sets that spiral of.
So we didn't mention we started this episode and we found out we weren't recording, and
it was only like 30 minutes.
Yeah, and we had to start it over. So thanks for being here, Machete. I
was looking forward to meeting him.
You were talking about November 8th. You have Greg Glassman coming to
was on
Pepperdine.
the other one, right?
Pepperdine,
So-
which is right over the hill from
like
where
a mile
we are,
away.
where
So-
you went to school.
I went to school there.
What
I was an
degree did you
undergrad.
get?
I got an undergrad in sports medicine.
Okay.
And which is an exercise science. And then 10 years later, I came back to work in and then later run the physical education department.
Okay.
And then I opened the gym after.
And I have to mention, for people that don't know, just Google Pepperdine. It's possibly, I think it might be the nicest campus in the entire country.
It's arguably got the best cafeteria view of any college campus for sure.
Yeah, you look out over the Pacific Ocean, and it's 5 minutes from my house, and I tell my daughter every day that that's where she's going to college.
There you
because
go.
I don't want her to leave me.
She'll leave home. She'll stay at home and drive out to Pepperdine.
It's gorgeous. You probably dumped like $80,000 a year in there.
Something like that. But I went back in the 80s, so it was all right. But you're going to be in Spokane and then in Portland, but then you're going to come back for Greg Glassman's
I'm coming for
Pepperdine
sure.
show. November 8th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. And it'll be on our Facebook and our CrossFit Malibu website.
So how did this happen?
How'd the thing happen? I met Greg back in 2009, like roughly right when I first opened the gym. He was doing this thing called, what did he call it? Like CrossFit 101, where you'd go to a gym and talk about CrossFit, like the theory and practice of CrossFit. So I went out to Andy Rios' gym, CrossFit Simi Valley, and met him. And we just hit it off and we become good friends.
Oh, really?
And Andy's friends of the university, and he comes to Malibu a lot. Like there's a reason why people like this town.
Yeah.
And so he comes a lot to CrossFit Malibu. It's kind of.
Is he still down in Del Mar? Is that where he lives?
No, he's not down there anymore.
Okay.
He's got the he spends a lot of time or at least some time in Kauai.
Okay.
And he's back up in Santa Cruz. He
Okay.
spends a lot of time up there. But he does come down here quite often. And I don't know, if you haven't ever been to CrossFit Malibu, you should come here. It, as he has said, is basically kind of has the look, feel, and like the energy of what CrossFit is all about. Like it's sort of a down.
I've always felt like that, and you've probably heard me because you've listened to the show since day one. You've told
Day
me.
one, episode 1.
You've heard me say it's not about your facility; it's about your coaching.
Right.
It's all about your coaching.
Right.
Some of the best coaches I know, people like Kenny Kane and just all over the place, can do their class not even in a gym,
anywhere, right?
Anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, and then we have the people that are in the classes, and the environment of the people that are around you in class make a difference. And and the cool thing about, like, if I have an athlete that goes, to Raw, like one of your favorite gyms, right?
Yeah.
In Pennsylvania, they'll come back and they'll say, "Wow, it was great for all of these reasons, but I like it here better." And I know Raw people will come here and they'll go, they'll go
like
back
my
and
place.
say, I loved it. CrossFit Malibu had this, that, but I like Raw better. Like it's sort of like a loyalty thing, but they like it's like the family they're coming back to.
But
all
what
the
I'm,
time. You know what I mean?
I use the analogy of a boxing gym. If I wanted to go fight professionally in boxing, and I could go in the shittiest gym with the best coach in the world, or the best gym with the worst
coach, right? You choose the.
It's all about the coaching,
Right.
It's all about the coaching. Right. So when I hear coaches tell me that their members complain about, they're like, they want the best equipment. I'd tell them to shut the fuck up.
Our athletes don't know anything, at least when they come in for the first couple of years. They don't know anything about the equipment,
and they
know what we have here, right?
They shouldn't, because at the end of the day, it's what did we get out of you?
Right.
Are you progressing?
Right.
Shut up about the equipment.
It's made out of metal. It's heavy. Pick it up. Put it down.
Oh, but I like wooden rings over plastic, and I can't get my muscle up. But then work on your muscle up.
Right.
Get it better.
Exactly.
Do more pull-ups.
Yep.
I get really frustrated by all that shit. And
but all that to say, like the feel of our gym is like it's down home. Like CrossFit.
This is one of my favorites in the world because you're 100 yards from the beach.
It's about 750.
That many?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because from here to Starbucks, it's 400 yards, and then from Starbucks to the beach, it's about 300 more.
Oh, okay. So you know that from your runs.
Yes, from the runs.
The
door of Starbucks and back is an 800-meter run.
Okay, so then I have to
straight down Cross Creek, but I mean we are on Cross Creek Road leads right to Third Point. essentially.
If anybody's ever seen Gomer Pyle, which is an old sitcom, the older people listening will know, it looks like where Gomer slept.
That's right. It is. I mean, we have a guy who's trained with us for a little bit he's a World War II veteran. He's 94 years old, and
which I want to get to, by the way.
At some point, every time he's been here, he'll look around and he'll go, my bed was right over there in that corner. Because it's a military.
So I hope, and I'm so glad that you've, like every other CrossFit gym, everybody just keeps getting bigger and bigger and nicer shit. And you've maintained this, and I'm hoping you plan on doing that.
I mean,
the same.
we doubled in size. We were 586 square feet.
So what did you do?
Now we're 1,400.
More Quonset hut shit?
No, I would love
Where do you
to
shop for Quonset huts.
No, this was here. I don't know if we said this in take one or if this is take two, but the gym has probably been here since the end of World War II. Like literally, there was a military installation at Surfrider Beach looking for Japanese subs, like submarines, like in the 1947 or so. So this probably was here, and we're looking at the gym right there. This was probably here since then. And I had that small side, which is 586 square feet, and there was a guy on the other side of that other wall that divides the gym.
I didn't know that.
That had another business here, and he moved out after about a year and a half, and we took over that side. So now we are 1,440 square feet.
And you've got a lot of outdoor area.
There's a lot of outdoor space.
Do you use the outdoor space?
We use it just about every day, for sure.
No neighbors complain?
No, because there's a core driller and a plumber and an electrician and an auto mechanic over here. So no one really.
That's great. And so it's in the middle of Malibu, one of the most beautiful places in the world. And it's just such a cool gym. It's what exactly you got the tires out here. It's what a CrossFit gym should be. And I would imagine, because this is a big vacation destination, everybody comes to Malibu. You get a lot of drop-ins.
We do get some drop-ins. It's
I would assume.
We get some every week. We get drop-ins every week, but it's like we get as many people that email us and say, "Hey, we want to come," and they'll end up surfing or mountain biking or hiking or going into Venice Beach, because there's just so much stuff to do around here. I mean, literally. Before I owned this gym, I had never paid for a gym membership in my life because I did stuff outside.
Right.
And that's what people get caught up in, being outside. But we get our fair share of drop-ins for sure.
And
we get people that come in and want to buy shirts that say Malibu on it as well. And we're almost always out.
You should put those online and sell. Why do you not do that? I'll hook you up.
It's funny. If you look at the square footage of the gym, the office, what I call the office, is like this tiny...
Okay, I'm going to hook you up with Fine Southern Gentlemen. They do all our T-shirts, and our WODcast T-shirts are coming out soon. And we're going to do hats like this. I have the Bingle hat on right now. This is for the other show. I'm going to do WODcast hats like this, too. They're great guys. I've been working them forever. They're out of Austin, Texas. Okay. And they'll basically... And if you're a CrossFit gym, this is the best thing in the world. Have them do your T-shirts for you. They'll do all the shipping. They'll do everything, and they'll just say, "Hey, we'll give you. You sell your shirts for $25. We'll give you
a percentage.
We'll give you $15 on every shirt. So you don't have to deal with shipping. You don't have to deal with any of that crap. Nothing. And you just put the link on your page, and it's like, you want to buy shirts here. That's easy. So they're FineSouthernGentlemen.com. Great guys. Justin Weems is the guy there to talk to. If you're a gym, I can't emphasize it more, because then you don't have to keep an inventory at your gym. You just go, "Oh, you want one, guys?
Just go online and find it."
And they probably have an Amazon look, and it's at your house the next day.
That's easy.
So,
that is easy. That business side of things is an interesting concept about, if you come from it from the coaching or teaching perspective, and then realize that when you open the gym, you have this whole business side of things.
It's the same thing with comedy. It's
and I argue, you got to manage your travel schedule, your bookings, all that.
I
stuff.
argue it every day about that's what's gone wrong with business and society, is that now you have to be a jack of all trades. Yeah. Like, all I ever wanted to be was a comedian. And now I have to know how to run a Zoom recorder, a Mevo camera.
You have to drive your own bus.
I have to drive the bus. I'm
jack
doing
of all
social
trades.
media. I'm doing marketing. I'm working on the print.
You got to find a way to be funny on top of that.
Right. So I'm doing 90% administrative, 10% art.
Right.
And I feel like that happens with a coach a lot, where you're doing 10% coaching, 90% the business bullshit.
Well, here's how I make it simple. I spend 90% of the time coaching and 10% the business bullshit. I just don't
spend any time. That's what I want to get to.
Yeah.
but you have to hire someone to do the 90% then.
Got it.
And I've let my wife take over some of those aspects. I've got agents and managers and web guy and social media guy, and I'm just trying to outsource everything
so that you can stick to
get back to the jokes,
comedy,
and doing this. Like, would have helped if Machete was here today, but if not, so I had to fucking do all this stuff.
This is an early. They don't know that this is a 9 a.m. call time here,
right? And Machete, I don't think he's ever been up before 9 p.m.
Right,
but which brings me to a little administration. I want to talk about a new product that is sponsoring the show that I've heard a lot of, not just CrossFitters, but pro athletes discussing, and you might have some insight about this. And it's exploding out there right now. I mean, it's crazy, but it's CBD oil. And Medterra is a company. Like when I listen to advertisers and I go, hey, yeah, you want to advertise on the show? I always go, yeah, I can't get behind you. So I'm not going to be good at selling your shit.
It's got to be something that you would use.
I have to believe, or I have to trust. You have to be the best. Like, if you come to me with your protein powder and you want to pay me a lot of money, but I see you get shit in your protein, I'm not going to sell it.
Right.
I can't do it. So this company came to me and I was like, all right, I got to do my research. I got to find out. And the company's called Medterra, and it is the highest quality, ultra pure cannabidiol oil. I don't know how you spell it. Cannabidiol oil. I don't know. It's but this is very important because a lot of people judge it and they're like, cannabis, marijuana, 0 THC. There's 0 THC. So CBD is a non-psychoactive component of the hemp plant, and it's used for a multitude of health issues ranging from pain management to sleeplessness. That word didn't come out right now. Sleeplessness.
Like rolling around in bed at night, not being able to sleep.
Sleeplessness to anxiety. Medterra CBD, it's extracted from hemp grown in accordance with strict guidelines of the Kentucky Department of Agriculture's Hemp Pilot Research Program, making it federally legal in all 50 states. So I'm not selling anything illegal here. It's federally legal also. It's not like you just have to be in a marijuana. This is a marijuana state. This is marijuana is completely legal by state, not by federal. That's a whole other issue we could get into. But this one, when you're buying CBD oil, some of them are, some of them aren't, because some of them have THC. This has none of the psychoactive components. It's not or psychotropic or whatever it is. This is it's tasteless. It's non-GMO, third-party tested to ensure consistency and quality. Medterra products currently include, they've got a CBD tincture, topical cooling cream, CBD gel capsules, sleeping CBD pills, and a CBD isolate. And I know many, many athletes, a lot of surfers, a lot of CrossFitters, a lot of people all over the place are using CBD to help with muscle soreness, pain management. And if you use our discount, WODcast listeners can get 15% off any Medterra purchases using the discount code WOD, W-O-D. So go to, I believe it's medterra.com. That's MEDTERRA, and you can get this. There's a lot of controversy in this kind of industry, but there is science behind a lot of CBD. There's a lot of shit out there too. So that's why when I agreed to do this, I was like, okay, I have to do my research and make sure that this is one of the ones that is, really going out there to get quality shit. And so you'll hear, it's just like anything else, like stem cells, or you're going to hear bad stories, you're going to hear good stories. But I have heard really, really good things about this product, really good things about the anti-inflammatory effects of taking CBD oil.
I haven't tried it out yet. I haven't explored it, but it's out there.
I had it given to me a couple times, like a number of times, people trying, and was on the fence about taking it. And this one, I was like, no problem. Like, once you show me the science, I mean, I'm like a psychopath about, like, I'm so scared,
skeptical
because
of it. Yeah.
I smoke weed, once not often, but once every couple months or so, I'll have a hit or two. Or I'm not a big pot smoker, but I'm not a big fan. I just don't. But
Something that makes you tired, or
I had a glass of wine last night. It was like
you can't smoke weed and go up on the stage and deliver.
No fucking way. I tell the story about first time I ever smoked weed on stage and went on stage was Dave Chappelle.
Oh wow,
Dave Chappelle. Years ago, we used to be good buddies, and I was hanging out with him. I wasn't hanging out. We would hang out every night after the shows, but I was doing a show at Caroline's Comedy Club in New York, and all of a sudden Dave walks in. And I'm like, hey, Dave. And he's like, hey, man, what's going on? And I was like, oh, are you going on? And he's like, yeah, I'll do a set. And I was like, okay. And he goes, come on, let's go in the stairwell. So we went in the stairwell, and he's like, let's smoke this, man. And I was like, I'll smoke this. And I smoked with him a lot after shows, but I was like,
not before going on.
I don't know what's going to happen. And Caroline's is a very prestigious club in New York City, and it's packed. And I'm like, okay. I'm just more like, I want to be cool. I want Dave to like me.
Yeah.
Dave
asked me to hang out in the stairwell.
So I smoke it. I go on stage, and I only, for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever I was on stage, I only did setups of jokes.
You set everything up and nothing.
No punchline.
Closed.
I would go, so don't you hate when you're in the subway and it's too crowded? You ever notice when it's raining out and you didn't bring in an umbrella? And what would happen is I would tell the setup, and then I would think they're not into this.
So that you'd
Move
give
on
them another
to
one.
the next one. And then I'd move on to the next subject. And I'm like, I got a girlfriend, and she doesn't like when I come home late.
On to the next one.
You know when you're watching TV and the audience was looking at me like, what is this guy? So I'm looking at them. They're looking at me, and I'm like,
What?
They're freaking out. I'm freaking out. This is getting really
Going
weird.
back and forth.
And they're laughing strangely, like not with
like
me.
nervous.
Yeah, like, what's this guy doing? And I was like, I got off stage, and I'm like, Dave just watched me bomb. And then I'm thinking, this weed's fucked up. He's going on stage. He's going to bomb.
I got to tell him.
Too. He goes on stage and crushes. Like the audience is like, ah! And he wasn't even famous back then. This is like right after Half Baked. And he comes off stage, and I just look at him, I go,
how'd you do that?
I couldn't talk. And he goes, every day, man, every day.
Lots of practice. Lots of practice.
So I know people that smoke weed and work out.
That wouldn't be in my wheelhouse there.
I did Getting Dug with High, which is a TV show on YouTube.
Okay.
And they make you smoke weed, and then you do the show.
Right, okay.
And you smoke all throughout the show. And I just do it to promote my shows. And I like Doug a lot. He's great. He did the show, the TV show, documentary Super High Me.
Oh, okay.
Where he smoked weed for 30
For 30 days, right?
And then
Supersize Me, take off, right?
And had all his, his blood
His
tests,
medical,
and everything.
stuff tracked and stuff.
They did like intelligence tests where he scored higher on weed.
After the fact?
Yeah, but that's just him, because
Yeah,
everything would go down. So I smoked and got really high and thought afterwards, I want to get rid of this. I want this out of my body. So I was like, I'm going to go surfing. I surf with a lot of guys who smoke.
Right.
Surf. And I was like, that'll make it wear off. Well, then I was like, I'd be coming down the line, and I would like see the end of the wave. It was sectioning out, and I was like, I'm going to wipe out. I'm going to enjoy the wipe out. I'm going to let it take me.
Yeah.
And I thought, we'll see. Like, that's the mood I was in.
And then you end up on the rocks at first point.
Boom. Banged my head right off the bottom of the ocean. And I was like,
that woke you up.
I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here.
Right.
This is
I'm going to kill myself.
This is not. And I know tons of people that lift weights, and I don't know how they do it. I don't know how you could work out high.
I don't know either.
I think you could strength train. I don't think you could
do Fran.
I don't think if you're out there and you do it, please.
It's like the beer mile.
Facebook us and let me know how you do a Metcon high. I need to know that.
That's a whole nother thing, like beer mile. Like
some people focus
sub
better.
3 minute Fran.
Did you see the guy? I posted it. The guy who is like the new best beer miler. He's a Canadian guy.
Oh, I didn't see it. Is it in the 5 minute range?
It's on our Facebook page. It's I think it's 425.
425.
Yeah. And he's an amazing chugger. He's a bigger dude. I can tell you have to be big to do that.
I think so has Hunter done it?
Hunter's not that good at it.
He's not. Is it the beer side? It's
the beer side. He did it like 8 something.
Oh,
and he can run like a 4:15 mile.
Yeah.
he did it.
Seems like he has all of the
And he's an
necessary
alcoholic
components.
and drinks like a fucking. No, he doesn't drink as much as he parties. He claims
He just
did it.
enjoys it.
He claims
doesn't-
he did it faster than 8.5.
I can't believe that it would take him that long.
It took me almost 11 minutes.
I can run a mile fairly confidently in the 5-minute.
Can you
range.
really?
It's meaning sub 6 minutes. Like
Wow.
that's not a problem.
That's fast.
But the beer part is no.
Because you're like my age. That's fast
Yeah.
as shit.
That-
Can you drink a beer fast?
no.
See, I
could
can
never do that.
I can chug a beer really fast, and I can run. I don't know now if I can do it, but somewhere in the sixes.
You can go. Yeah, you could go out and run a 6.5
Yeah.
minute mile.
Yeah.
But to put those two together,
No way.
No.
After I drank the first, and I'm a good quarter miler, so you give me quarter mile
repeats.
that's fine.
that's in your domain.
In fact, I would run that as fast as I'd run a mile because you give me like
oh, for sure,
a break,
for sure.
like an interval break. But
But add the beer to it, and it changes
the
everything.
first beer throws you off.
Yeah, that's.
I have a feeling if I did it with Coronas,
that
I
it
could
would
do
go
much
down
better 'cause
faster.
they're not
What's
as
the?
carbonated.
Is there an official beer of the beer
They
mile?
say it's got to be Budweiser. It's got to be like 5.3, I think, the alcohol level. But I've watched so many different things. The Canadian guy, they used to say it was a can.
Would he
Canadian
shotgun
guy-
it?
Canadian guy was he was doing it, was opening it. So he had to also open the bottle.
Wow.
And I don't know.
You did yours in Australia. I
did
saw
it
one
twice.
videoed in Australia.
I did one in Australia. I did it in North Carolina at my
Okay.
in-laws' house and puked in front of my
At the house.
my wife's grandmother. Puked right in front of her. I puked twice. I puked on the first beer. You're supposed to, if you puke, you're supposed to do another.
You're supposed
lap.
to drink another
I
one.
was like, I'm not, or another beer. I'm
Right.
like, it's not happening. I puked twice right after the first one and right after like the third one. We drank Pabst Blue Ribbon, and I heard if you warm them, like
It'll go down faster.
It goes down
less carbonation or
It's a
something.
nightmare. It's amazing how many CrossFit gyms do the beer mile, though. I think it should be a official CrossFit event.
Yeah, I think they probably wouldn't sanction that. Although there's probably been a lot of people that have done it.
Yeah,
for sure.
because it's very up CrossFit's alley.
Well, back in like the early 2007, 2008, you would see things with like St. Patrick's Day. People would submit a video of them doing a workout drinking a Guinness after.
Yeah.
Guinness would be the worst.
It's awful. I've seen
couldn't work.
people do beer Murph. You've seen that?
Beer Murph as well. No thanks.
I got Bell's palsy from doing.
Oh, that's
Murph.
right.
Yeah,
that's right. Your
I also was fasting.
neurological
I was an idiot.
disorder. You're over that.
Yeah. I still. I don't know if I'm over it mentally because
Okay.
it fucking
I could
freaked me out
I could imagine that.
to have your whole face paralyzed or half.
Half of the face.
Yeah, which is even scarier than your whole face.
I could see that.
And no doctor said this, but I was talking to Rob Wolf, and he said you probably compromised your immune
System was down, right?
by having zero nutrition in you,
Because you were fasting.
and then
Right.
going out and trying to do something.
So demanding, so taxing, both neurologically and
Yeah. So we're talking about doing in April or May the Backbone Trail, which is right up above us right now.
oh right, yeah.
And it's
I've done a
68
lot of pieces of that. I
Yeah.
haven't put it together.
Yeah,
but
I've only done little pieces of it by my house, but 68 miles.
sounds right.
From Will Rogers State Park
Oh,
to
in that
Point
direction,
Mugu.
going north. Okay.
Hunter's done it. He did it in 2 days. He did half, went home, slept,
and then
got up and
started
did the
at the
other
same
half.
spot.
Our goal is to do it. A bunch of Paradiso CrossFit members did it 24 hours. They made it like 25 hours, but we want to do 24 hours for charity. I have a whole bunch of people that want to do it.
That would be great.
And if you want to get involved and do it, we're going
That
to
could
do
be
it for charity.
interesting.
My only fear is knees.
Yeah.
Crushing your knees coming down hills, and you'd have to average about a 21-minute mile
Okay.
and to get it done, and also the neurological thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
well-
people don't realize, like when you get older,
Oh, that
Compromising
for
your
sure.
immune system.
For sure. I mean, that race across America, they say people. It takes them 6 months to recover from that bike ride across the United States.
Yeah,
where
we
they're
had
going
on
in a team.
Jason
you had someone on that.
Jason
Okay.
Wynn, who was on 2 weeks ago.
Got it.
Or maybe last week. Jason was a guest last week. Oh no,
Lauren
was
was on
last
last
week.
week.
Jason Wynn, who is the owner of Bonk Breaker, he's my neighbor. He did RAM and he didn't even talk about it on the show. Like the day after, I was over at his house and I was like, Didn't you ride with Laird and race across America?
Oh, is he in that group? I was going to say there's a group from Malibu that does it as well. But I've heard that it takes so much out of you because of the it's just. I mean, like Ragnar. I've done a couple of those, and the difficulty.
The Ragnar relay.
Yeah,
explain what that is for people that don't know.
It's what is it? Usually about 100 miles of. You have a team of
relay racing.
A relay race, a running race where you run anywhere between 3 and 7 miles or something, and you're just constantly putting one of your team members on that leg of the route. You pick them up, you put another person out.
And what do you run at the end of the day? How many miles, probably?
At the end of everyone does 3 legs, so it ends up being really like only 15 to 18 miles of running.
Still a lot.
But you're basically up most of the day. It's like a 24-hour thing. And getting out of the car at 3 o'clock in the morning after you've been in the car, following your athlete. And you're trying to run fast for a certain.
And because of the brakes, you're probably running. You're running 15 miles way faster than you
much
would run
faster.
in a row.
Like this is like
you're running 35K.
I had a leg that was a 4-mile run from like UCLA down to Santa Monica Pier, and it was just because of the decline. It was I ran it as hard as I could. Like I was running at 5K race pace for a 6.5K run. At 3 o'clock in the morning after I'd done 9 miles earlier in the day up like Camarillo grade. So it's cool. It's a cool way to go to travel some distance and like with a team. But
I had a guy open for me the other night, a comedian who longboard skateboard across America.
He
did across America. He went from like California to New Jersey. I had so many questions for him. I'm like, this should be a whole podcast. How many pairs of shoes he went through. Right. He learned to ride both legs
to push,
so he didn't get the imbalance.
Yep. That's smart.
He went with a team of like 4 people and a driver following them. He did also Santa Cruz to Los Angeles, which he said was way harder.
Yeah, I could imagine that would
way harder.
That would be rough.
Way harder. He almost got hit by a lot of cars. He goes,
PCH and
they were on
the 101.
They tried to stay off highways.
Way to do it.
They tried to stay off highways a lot, but sounds brutal. He loved it, but it sounds. Well, I'd rather run across America than skateboard. I would rather ride a bike. That to me, I was like, are you a psychopath?
It is crazy. Well, and part of it about using a form of transportation to travel is being able to see what you're experiencing going across it. And I just read on Morning Chalk Up today, there's a guy that's doing a run from like, I don't know, maybe Alaska to Florida, because he's done all of these other runs. And this one his purpose is like seeing stuff along the way. So he will do 5,000 miles.
Well, coming from Alaska through Canada is brutal.
I can imagine.
It's hard to even drive that because there's so little. I
wonder when he's going. I may be remembering incorrectly, but the purpose of his trip is to actually experience what's going on, and that like Dean Carnazzi's, running a marathon every day in 30 states for 30 days. Like you don't get anything out of that except for the experience of doing the 30 marathons. Like you don't meet people. I mean, you may meet them, but you don't remember any of that.
I heard David Goggins saying that about.
It's got to be a blur.
David Goggins said that about. They said he was on some Navy SEAL podcast that I forget what they called, like the Never Ever Quit. It's a good podcast. They were asking him about like, do you do it for the high of the finish line? And he was like, no, I do it for the high of the suffering. He's
like being in it and wondering if he's
like, I've found like enjoyment in the suffering, not in the
finish line or the end of the day.
Ephemeral. That
without a doubt.
I completed, and I have got a friend, and I think a lot of people that are former addicts do a lot of this ultra shit and try to go like test themselves.
Well, that's like Rich Roll.
Yeah, Rich
talking
Roll.
about
yeah,
it.
Definitely Rich. And my good friend Winston Fisher has done the Fisher House. If you've ever know the Fisher House,
I don't know that.
They take care of like wounded warriors' families.
Okay.
Not wounded but guys that come back from the war.
Right.
And their families need to stay near them, the hospital they're in. His family has this foundation, and Winston is a freak. I got to have him on the show sometime because he's done Ride Across America on a 4-man team, an 8-man team. 4's a lot fucking hard.
Without a doubt. It's more than twice as difficult. You're on every 4th.
I think he told me they ride for just 20 minutes.
That ends up happening, like Speed Project, which is a running group that goes from Los Angeles, I think, to Las Vegas. They'll do longer bouts at the beginning, but I think it ends up cycling through a lot faster. Like
Yeah.
like you'll get an hour rest, but you're on for only 20 minutes at a time.
Yeah, he was doing 20, so then you get an hour rest if it's 4-man team.
Yep.
For, I think,
Days.
3 days?
Days. Like where did...
Imagine sleeping in...
No.
Fit,
You
but,
sleep in 45-minute increments or something.
But I have read that a team that won the Amazing Race or something, they did sleep research before they did it and found out a lot of teams were going for they'd go for 12 hours and then sleep for 3 hours and then go for 12 hours.
And that's
they read it's better
to sleep shorter
for
period of
15
time.
minutes than work and every 3 hours, keep taking these short naps.
Yeah, and I think especially if it's a shorter period of time, like say if you're doing the Backbone Trail, you well, that's 24 hours. I don't know.
I'm going to go straight. If I do it,
24 hours is short enough to go straight.
If I do it, don't hold me to.
Right.
I say I'm going to do a lot of things and I don't do them, but I've done a lot of crazy shit too. I did a podcast for 24 hours and I didn't sleep the whole way through. And it wasn't that bad at all. There was about an hour or two period where I was getting really tired.
Right. But you just have the guest
yeah.
As long as you can keep talking, you keep going.
I programmed the guests to be like, I don't need
4 a.m, you need some energy.
Tiffany Haddish came in at 4 a.m.
Okay, like bring it on.
Yeah, she's nuts. And she and Chris Wilde, this guy. But that was fine. Yeah. Walking, being on your feet.
Yeah. I mean, when you have to be alert and in the dark and
yes.
Yeah, so you talked about some of the things that I'd be afraid of, like spraining an ankle. Like that's
big fear.
Just alertness.
Yeah.
I've done quite a bit of off-road trail racing.
It's almost all single track.
Without a doubt. And one of the races I remember coming up onto the Backbone from Piuma.
Yeah. That's right near my house.
Running a ridge. And for a split second, I've been running on this guy's shoulder. We've been trading back and forth, the lead just to kind of to take some of the burden of the race. But I remember looking out over Malibu Creek State Park and immediately tumbling down the hill.
Oh.
Came back up. I took the lead, and the guy says to me, "Dude, you're bleeding all over your back." I'm like, "Yeah, did you not see me fall?" Like he had no idea that I tumbled for 20 feet, came back up, and just immediately started running again. But it's that instant lapse in focus or concentration, and you're on the ground.
Yeah, it's Hunter said he did run the hills, or he said he ran the straights, hiked the hills, and kind of ran the downhills. Where I think I would
the downhill.
He said bring the poles for the downhills
because you can
put some weight on it,
some pressure. Right?
I don't know if I'm going to do that. If I get enough people that are interested and everybody's and there's that camaraderie and we're going to do this thing.
And we're going to do it together.
But it's not one of these things where I can go out there alone and do it just to prove to myself that I can do it.
Right.
But there is something as humans that we're like, I got to ride across America, or I want to swim across this channel, or I want to do this or do that. And there is that. I mean, that's why we do it. That's why we do CrossFit. Right. That sense of satisfaction of
climb mountains. And I tell people when they come in, oftentimes someone that learns how to deadlift or clean something and then accidentally just puts it over their head. That's ingrained. There's something in the skull that when you pick up, there's something in the back of the reptilian core of the brain that if there's something there, then you pick it up, and the next thing you want to do is, can I put this over my head? And it doesn't matter the age. I've had 70-year-olds pick stuff up and then eventually just push press it, even though we're just working on cleans or deadlifts.
I also think that it gets you over the hump of life difficulties where you go, running a marathon was really good for me because I ran a marathon and I knew that pain that I went through. And I went, I can do this, then I can do this. And if I could do that, I could do this. And there's times when I'm carrying suitcases down, or up.
I think about it all the time.
And I go, okay, well, I do
carrying
this in the
two
gym.
kids, right?
I got this.
Right.
And I did that.
Right.
I can do this. Right. So every time you pass this benchmark, you're like, okay, I did
What's
that.
next?
Yeah. So I think it's good for people to kind of put these things out there and go, I'm going to run a 10K or I'm going to run a marathon or I'm going to.
And on top of that, you put it on the schedule and there's a date to it.
True.
And other people are going to show up and do it. I mean, circling back to that's why people show up to the 9 o'clock class because they have other people that show up to the 9 o'clock class. Right. And we talked about,
that's what I need to come down here in the morning because my day, once it starts going, I can't break away.
6 a.m., 7 a.m.,
I need
9 a.m.
I need to come do that, and
Get in here.
I've got a gym that's great. I've got everything you could ever want for CrossFit, but I just sometimes can't get myself in there.
Yeah, exactly. And that, what does it take you? 9 minutes to get here from your house? Like that
eight.
That 8-minute drive will save like the 17 minutes that you like try and set up something or you're trying to write something.
So true. It's so true. And I also start working out. My daughter will walk out and be like, Daddy, I need, and I'm like, there goes the workout. Right. So I got to get away. And that's why everyone should, I find it hard to believe that anyone really develops that well in a home gym. Like, I think it's really hard unless you have a great coach, great trainer that comes over with you every day.
And you have a very specific goal that you're achieving. Like
if you're Rich Froning, who did it alone,
right.
Who's a
psychopath.
psychopath.
We have a pro athlete that just he joined last week, and he's already actually referred a friend who came in this morning. He has a home gym. He hasn't used it in 2 years since he finished his sport. Like he retired from his sport, and he's coming to morning classes.
Right.
He'll actually text me, I'm not going to make the 7, but I will be there at 9. Like, he has this feeling of obligation to me that he's going to show up.
I think you should. I think as a member of a CrossFit gym, you should have an obligation to your coach. Like you're part of it.
So there's a couple that comes to the 6 a.m. classes, a small class, right? Like 4 to 6 people. And if they're out of town, I get a text or they'll tell me in advance, okay, we're not going to be here, so don't be waiting for us. I'm like, okay, you got it.
I want to get into some of your members, but before we do, I have to finish up the Glassman thing, and then I'll let you get out of here. Glassman is going to be doing what at Pepperdine?
He's just going to be doing a talk. It will probably be a little bit of what is CrossFit. You can't get him in a room talking with either an individual or an entire room of people without him talking about CrossFit Health. So he will be talking about CrossFit Health and the move to, what CrossFit is doing.
This could be a whole nother podcast. Maybe we do part 2 later.
Exactly. So he'll be talking about that for sure. And then because there will be probably 60 to 80 sports medicine majors that will be at the talk, he'll be addressing part of the talk to them in terms of, I think, probably a little bit about where he started, what he's done, and, just encouraging them to be part of this process and part of the bandwagon of like me and a lot of other people in sports science. Like I had an idea of being a physician, and I outright know that I've affected more people's lives as a PE coach, as I was calling it, than I would have as a physician. Like from a base level, because
you're preventative.
It's about health. It's about vitality, about being as healthy as you, and as fit and as happy as you can be.
I like to equate it as that trainers, nutritionists, physical therapists are like the engineers, and the doctor is the mechanic. And so if you engineer the car correctly, you're not going to need to go to the mechanic.
That's good. I haven't heard that.
And a physical therapist is kind of like a mechanic too.
Yep.
But
that you may need to go for a little bit for a tune-up or a tweak.
But the doctors are coming in, they're doing surgery. They're the mechanic that's like rebuilding your engine. Yep. When if you had just put oil in your engine, you wouldn't have had
prevented
to have
the
And it's the whole. I mean, it's America though. We're reactive instead of proactive.
Yeah.
And people like Dylan and I always talk about it. He's like, my physical therapist said to me the other day, who you probably know, Dr. Greg Beaton. He was saying for years they were trying to become a legitimate profession.
Right.
And once they became a legitimate profession, they had to figure out how to make money doing it.
Right.
Well, it's almost the same as what's going on with like health practitioners, like you guys as CrossFit coaches and nutritionists and all these people, trainers. It's almost was never legitimized as part of medicine and health.
Exactly.
And it should be.
Without a doubt. It's the first part.
It is the most important part. Right. And as much as I think it's great, and everybody that's listening to this, you're in CrossFit, you think it's your whole life. It's not. Go walk around a mall and look at the fat fucks that are walking. Yeah. I see them every night when I do comedy shows, and I'm just, I used to really criticize them a lot, and then I was like, I sound like a dick on stage. And then I watched Bill Burr do it, and he was so funny about it that I was like, no, I just
legitimized it.
I just need to be funnier
Right.
about how everyone's. I felt like here I'm in decent shape, and I shouldn't be up here castigating people that aren't. But I get
more
on
about the phenomena that you're.
Because mine is, I get on a plane, and I'd be mad that some fat dude next to me,
taking up your seat.
half his body is on my seat,
Right.
and I'm like, dude, I can't get out from under you. Like, this isn't fair.
Right.
This is not fair. So now you're affecting me. And I say it all the time when people go, oh, it's fat shaming. I go, no, it's not. I'm not fat shaming because you're doing something wrong with your life. Like, you're doing drugs and you're going to ruin your life and you're going to hurt yourself, and you have kids. I hate when I have friends with kids that aren't taking care of themselves. I'm like, you're going to die. I got a friend right now.
Someone else is going to have to take care of them, right?
His H1,
A1C?
I can never get the numbers right, but her letters. Whatever it is, it's so high that he's going to have a stroke, and his cholesterol is so high. And I'm like, you have 5 kids.
You have an obligation to them to be fit. Right?
You're an asshole.
Right.
You're going to die. And he's like, they've got insurance. I'm like, no, they don't want
They don't need the money.
They want the father.
They want him right there.
And so I think it's okay to shame these people. Yeah. And also, your fucking fatness makes my healthcare costs go up.
Absolutely.
Your lack of taking care of yourself is costing me money.
Cash, right.
And so all these people that bitch about healthcare and their healthcare costs go up, you can't bitch if you're fat. You can't bitch about Obamacare. You can't bitch about it because you're the reason.
Right. And the solution is there. I mean, it's like it's not a question of what to do. It's getting out there and doing it.
Yeah. So Glassman's giving this talk. I definitely am coming. I've met him once. He was a nice guy. He was funny. I met him at the CrossFit Games. Yeah. Tony Blauer introduced us.
And have you watched any of his talks on CrossFit Journal?
He said he was coming on the show.
Wow.
And I think he'd be great on this show.
I think he would be. But I would sit and listen to him no matter what the topic was. He'll talk about like the roots of the scientific method, and it's an enthralling 10-minute lecture.
I would love to see him. I mean, I would love to have him on this show, but I would even more like to see Joe Rogan talk to him.
That would be interesting
because
that would be
Joe's. I've done Joe's show a bunch of times, and I don't know if he's the biggest fan of CrossFit, but I think he sees the merits in high intensity interval training. What he does is derivative of it.
Yeah, you couldn't not if you're in his position.
But I don't.
And he's thoughtful too. So
he said he would go do CrossFit with me at a CrossFit gym if I went and did an MMA class. And I gotta ask him if
you gotta take him up on that.
I'm so freaked out on MMA though, but I'm clethorophobic, which is a fear of being trapped. So like headlocks and stuff, it's just like
you just tap out fast.
Oh, it just freaks me out. And also like rolling around with a sweaty man.
That's a whole nother thing. Ringworm.
Yeah. The cauliflower ear and all that stuff. So that's great that you're doing that with Glassman.
And I'll put that out on our social media, and anyone's welcome to come. I mean, it's an open talk. It'll be up at Pepperdine. It's free.
That's great. Yeah. Like anyone can come in.
Yeah.
Not just students at Pepperdine.
Not just students at Pepperdine.
Oh, awesome.
It'll be out there.
And November 8th, that is what time?
6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Pepperdine's Graduate School of Education and Psychology. It could. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is you have something that's very interesting that I don't think enough gyms are getting into. You've got a lot of older members. The median age of our gym is over 55. I haven't calculated it in a while, but if we were to look at the class that went on at 9 a.m., there's probably 2 people that are under 40.
Wow.
Most of them are between 45 and 55. Actually, even older than that. There were like 3 70-year-olds in that class. So, I mean, we have older members. And part of it clearly is there's not a lot of 23-year-olds that, buy a house and live in Malibu. So it's just a cross-section of the demographic that's here.
Right.
But also, I mean, 3 of the people that are the longest members at the gym are 3 of my sports med major professors that I had in class back in 1988. So they're 63, 63, and 72, I think, roughly.
Wow.
And they supported me ever since I started. I still continue to teach some classes and guest lecture at Pepperdine as well. But we have a group that's been here for a long time that is, has the status and the cliche as they're exercise science professors and they walk the walk, which is rare. Like, I mean, just because you're teaching exercise science doesn't mean that you actually do anything at all. But these three are legitimate.
Yeah.
They've been training.
You have a games athlete too, don't you?
One of them is Lori. That's the 70.
Was she the one that just came on here?
She just popped up. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
And she is.
She's 70 something years old. She was in the CrossFit Games in 2012 as a 60 and over athlete at age 66.
So she must have gone up against Sandy.
I don't think Sandy was there yet. I think she was there the following year, maybe 2 years later. Sandy Pittman, right?
Sandy Hill.
Sandy Hill Pittman. Okay.
Yes.
And then a couple of years back, she focused a little bit more on Olympic weightlifting and went to a couple of Olympic weightlifting meets and qualified for the Pan Ams and all that kind of stuff, and then broke the world record in her age group and weight class.
That's one of the things I want to ask Glassman about is, and I've said this before, because CrossFit, everybody got, in the beginning, even I did a little bit about the CrossFit Games, like competing. This is great. You see how far you can push your body. But I saw it always, like right away, I got hurt. And I was like, I'm too old to be fucking around with this shit.
It's a great point, because Lori, I say, was an accidental, she is an accidental or incidental world record holder. She was an accidental CrossFit Games athlete.
I'm realizing it's getting maybe like 150.
It is. Oh, that's a sunroof. Yeah. I can escape. I can relax all of a sudden. So when she was in the CrossFit Games, she had a bunch of reporters, like newspapers call. Actually, they called me to talk about like what was her secret to success. And kind of sarcastically, I said back to each one of them, I had this idea that I was going to tell them that all she did was she came to the gym and she trained an hour a day, 5 days a week for about 5 years. And they would say to me, they would come back and say, okay, but what did she do? Like, what was the special stuff? Well, she did CrossFit every day for 5 days a week at age 6, like from 62 to 64. That's what she did. Like, she trained hard for it. And they kept thinking it was going to be like, is she like a super athlete? Was she like a professional volleyball player, like turned CrossFitter? No. As she started when she was 61 years old. And she couldn't squat, she couldn't lunge, she couldn't do anything. She had an ACL that is I don't know if it's torn or partially torn, but since she was like 30 years old, so she was not necessarily the prototypical kind of gymnast that went into CrossFit, or she wasn't a pro soccer player that went into CrossFit. She's just like sarcastically I said, she's just a woman that showed up to class 5 days a week for a number of years, and then she was at the CrossFit Games. I mean, it's like she did high intensity, constantly varied functional movement and just continued to push herself. She didn't get hurt because she started very incremental. I mean, like they say, long trajectory towards a distance horizon. Like that was her growth over time. And the years going on, she still continues to say, like, when will I be?
That's a very important thing that I think needs to be taught in this, because,
and not just with older athletes.
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Right. And as you get older in this, you want to maintain your health, and an injury is going to blow you out and throw you off. I've said it on the show a million times. I always feel like I need to say that because everybody thinks I'm an idiot, and I'm like, hey,
I've heard it.
We go back. You listen, you'll know I was right. I always say that the best CrossFitter is the one that's able to CrossFit.
Right. If you're injured and not doing anything at all, you're no longer doing CrossFit.
Yeah, you're out, because this is a long, you're hoping, and you want it to be as long, and you want to be able to function. A guy said to me one time in a gym, he goes, how's your snatch? And I go, I don't really snatch. And he said, why not? And I said, snatch has never got me laid or made me money. And he's like, then why do you do CrossFit? And I said, because I have a 2-year-old daughter that I want to live a long, healthy life to be there for, and be able to participate in things with her and make her happy. And he looks at me and he goes, good reason.
Yeah, that's it.
And
it's not for the regionals. It's not for the PRs.
When you're 25 years old and you're thinking about your knee sleeves and how you want to squat more than anyone's ever squat, that's great. And you want to compete, competition's great and everything. But when you're 45 and you're thinking, I don't want to have Alzheimer's. I don't want to have arthritis. I don't want to have all these things. I want to take care of myself. It's all changes pretty quickly.
Yep.
And so to have that mentality and to have an athlete like that and to be put in the situation you're in where you've got these older athletes, it needs to be focused on. And I'm so
100%.
glad to see CrossFit making this change.
Yeah, I mean, you see it on the main page all the time on CrossFit.com. They are more focused over the past 2 years of posting everyday people making, losing 100 pounds or
I'm so happy
some
about
sort
this.
of disease that they're overcoming. Or
It doesn't mean the aspect's going to go away of the fire breather, of the badass.
It can't.
But that should be what I always thought was that was a small percentage of it. That was in the beginning. It was like, that's 10% of it. 90% of it is all these other great aspects of it.
Right.
And then it started growing and growing and growing into this kind of meathead type thing of like, it was 90%. How many muscle ups can you do in a row? How long can you?
Right.
You're the biggest, strongest, craziest motherfucker in the world. And it was like, they weren't even focusing on the masters athletes.
Well, but even through all of that, this whole, like Greg said at the beginning, we focused on the tip of the spear, the Navy SEALs, the law enforcement, the firefighters, and then we backfill with grandmothers. Yeah. You can't start with a grandmother and backfill with fire breeders.
Good point. Yeah.
And so that was by design. Like he realized that, and he's a smart dude.
Yeah. A good analogy for that is golf. They say, I think it was Greg Norman said, when you start golfing, try to hit it as far
as you can. And then
narrow it in.
Right. And then the other thing is that they're starting with medical doctors in CrossFit Health because you can't backfill with people that don't have any power. So start with the medical doctors, get them on board, and then gradually it'll funnel down to the rest of the healthcare chain. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it's the same setup.
So you're making me feel good about Greg Glassman a little bit, because there are times when I've been like, I've always thought the guy's a smart guy. I know he's a genius.
For sure.
But there are times when I'm like, his motives are a little bit of a pyramid scheme, make money, blah, blah, blah. But more and more, it's like, no, I think this guy just really wants to, like, his legacy to be, I changed the world. I made
absolutely.
people healthy.
Like, he could quit now. And he has forever changed fitness as we see it. Like, sure, there were small mom and pop gyms, like a boxing gym here and there, or a MMA gym here and there. But when you drive down the street and you see somebody that has a storefront fitness studio that's open in the last 15 years, it is because of Greg Glassman. Like, there's no way around it. Like, he has paved the way for this type of gym to succeed. And again, he could quit and easily could, like, financially, but he has so much more work to be done. I mean,
and you see his influence in the Globo gyms. You go in the Globo gyms and they've got,
platforms,
more pull-up bars, more Olympic lifting, more medicine balls, more things, all this CrossFit equipment that's going on, and people doing more functional exercises than just the bodybuilding.
Yeah. Oh, if you so I'm teaching a class now at Pepperdine, an upper division sports med class called Neuromuscular Adaptation to Training.
Jesus Christ.
And they know this kind of training because they're only 19 and 20 years old. And so this has started like 8 to 10 years ago, and they've grown up with this kind of training. They've, for the most part, 12 athletes, they have not ever used like a pec deck. So they don't know what that is. And 10 years from now, it'll be even like my kids run around the gym and this is what they know of as a gym. I guarantee if we went into like 24-hour fitness and I showed them the treadmills, they would not equate that to what we do here at the gym, at CrossFit Malibu.
Well, it's great what you're doing. One last thing, you mentioned it very briefly, and I wanted to come here and do a show with them. You have a World War II veteran.
Yes.
World War II veteran.
World War II veteran, 94 years old. His name is Chuck.
How many are left?
That's a good question. And
I don't think there are many.
There aren't many. There was one other guy in Malibu that I don't think they ever knew each other, but he just passed away. He was the voice of Prince Charming and Cinderella.
Oh, wow.
Like 96 years old. Lily's Burritos. He was there every single morning eating breakfast. He just passed away a couple of months
That'll
back.
put 20 pounds on you. That burrito is the heaviest.
It is dense.
Yeah.
So the chicken burrito is even better. So
really? Yeah. I think that's the one I get. No, I get the breakfast. I get the breakfast one.
There's a chicken and rice burrito that's really good.
Have you ever had the burrito down at Country Kitchen?
Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
Would they put French fries in it? If you want potatoes, it's like
I used to get. Now I don't eat like this, but I used to get bacon, sausage,
jalapenos,
egg, cheese, and they put the potatoes in it.
Yep.
It's crazy.
But anyway,
best burrito I think in LA.
It's a rival of. I mean, Lily's has a good following as well. But the World War II vets, no.
No, Country Kitchen. World War II vets. Go back.
Right. So he's Chuck is 94, but one guy that I'm really proud of is a dude named.
Do you do DT with him?
Well, they do versions of all of this stuff. Like Bill is 88, and he's been here for 2 years now. This week is actually his 2-year anniversary of CrossFit.
And Bill's another guy.
Bill's another dude. He's 88, but he's been coming for a lot longer. And we will do versions of the 2 years ago he did the open. Like he did versions of every single open workout, and I would post them on.
My dad is 83 years old. My dad likes to work out. Mm-hmm. My dad likes to move around, be fit, everything. He takes care of my mom a lot, who is not. She's got her own rehab where she does stuff, but it's not like that. She's in pulmonary rehab. She's that bad. But my dad could do. Like I would.
If he came in here, I would be.
I would send my dad to you, and he would love it. I don't trust many other CrossFit coaches because I don't feel like this has been emphasized at all.
Yeah,
that this is such an important part.
So I think the only thing that's holding back other CrossFit coaches.
Hold there. I'm getting a little static. Yeah, that's fine. Just don't hold down here.
Okay. The only thing that's holding CrossFit coaches back with working with older adults is inexperience.
Yeah.
And you can't treat them like you treat a 50-year-old or a 30-year-old. And I think that's the biggest thing. Now, sometimes CrossFit coaches don't have any experience with people over 40, right? That's a limiting factor. If you don't know the difference between a 20-year-old and a 40-year-old in terms of the way people move.
Right.
But as these gyms stay open longer, as athletes at CrossFit gyms start to get older and do start referring their parents, I think it will, you need experience to get experience is the thing.
Right.
So, go in with them, like work out next to them, be in an intro session and just make sure you get to know that coach and have an idea that really do no harm is kind of a first principle with someone that's older, because if they fall in the class, they will not come back. If they fall and break an arm,
I mean, that's my greatest fear. I help my father-in-law train a lot, and he's a former NFL football player.
That's
and all kinds of injuries. So I've had him. David Paradiso trained him one time.
Yep.
I'll bring him in here next time he's in town.
Yeah, you should bring him in.
He works out a lot.
Yeah.
But there's that fear in me.
Right.
I don't want to be the one that has to go home to my wife and be like, I just
gave a heart attack.
Or sorry, your dad's knee just buckled in the gym and it's my fault. So I want someone else. And I also want to put them in the hands of someone that I know.
Yeah, has a lot of experience.
Just like children. I know you have CrossFit for Kids background too,
don't you? Exactly.
I think these things are so important. I just watched, my daughter loves obstacle course racing, and we were watching Ninja Warrior Kids.
Yep. Oh, I didn't know they had a kids version of that.
They're just as good.
I bet.
As good.
Their grip strength weight ratio is off the charts, right?
Ridiculous how good these 8 to 11 I think they are. And I'm watching this going, every one of these kids can come in and do CrossFit.
Without a doubt.
Or has done some form.
I taught elementary school, and the kids at recess would climb up onto the chain link fence, that's probably 8 feet high, stand up and balance, and do backflips off of the chain link fence onto asphalt ground. Oh my God. Like they're basically home-taught gymnasts.
That would freak me out.
When people have pull-up bars and something to climb on, I mean, they learn how to do it.
So what I'm saying is I would like to see CrossFit spread in those kind of ways more than let's all see what the optimum level we can push a human performance to.
Right.
Let's go after the masses instead of the tip of the spear.
Yep.
So
and it's happening, which is cool.
I'm glad to see what you're doing. It's been an honor to have you on the show. Always wanted to have you on.
Great to be here. We have a lot more to talk about as well.
Yeah, we do. We could do a whole other episode, and maybe we'll do one after I go see Glassman, because I'm dying to see that. Hope he doesn't know all the shit I've said.
He's very open-minded.
He said I'll come on the show. Somebody said when I was in San Diego once, somebody was going to bring him to my show. They're like, I think we asked Glassman to come to your show and he might come. And I'm like, oh Yes,
That would be.
bring him.
He would love it.
Yeah.
I've been to one of your shows.
Yeah. I think
It's been a while, but
I think he would find it pretty funny. So, people can find you at
CrossFit Malibu is our Instagram. Our
drop in if you're ever in Los Angeles. Drive out. Malibu is one of the most beautiful places in the entire world.
That is true. We'll send you to the right beaches and the right restaurants.
The one of the top 50 waves in the world is 750 yards away. It's called Surfrider Beach. It's famous where they filmed all the old surf movies and
from Gidget to
you're sitting here
Big Wednesday
amongst all the big celebrities and everything, and you can see them in the coffee shops around here, and do a gym or do a workout at the Quonset hut.
That's right.
And he'll have his t-shirts up.
We'll have t-shirts by then.
Yeah,
we'll have t-shirts.
So if they want to write to you, you're on the website on.
CrossFitMalibu.com, at CrossFit Malibu
on Instagram.
And on Instagram, and our Facebook page is CrossFit Malibu.
Well, thank you, Mike. I can't tell your wife I said hello, your children.
We didn't even go there.
Yeah.
You know my wife before I know you.
I'm friends with his wife from back
New York City.
I think even before New York. I think when she went to Boston,
in Illinois.
She went to Boston College with one of my best friends.
Got it. Okay.
So I've been friends with her way before I knew you.
Long time.
And it was funny. She moved out here.
Yep.
And I was like, "What are you doing?" And I love her for this. She was at Wall Street, like making tons of money, and she's like, "I just
quit her job," and
she's like, "Screw that
Malibu.
shit. I'm moving to Malibu and I'm doing yoga." And
she's a yoga teacher. I mean,
and it was funny because I was the one guy and all our friends that didn't go Wall Street, and they all went Wall Street. And they were all about money, 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 money rules the world. And I was like, yeah, I gotta be about experience.
You were like, funny rules the world.
Yeah.
You like that?
And I was like, I don't want to go your route. And they all looked at me like I was this like weirdo. They're like, what's wrong with you? And they all kind of took care of me in the beginning. They're like, hey, I'll
sleep on my couch. I'll buy you dinner.
Beers. We know you're struggling. And now I look at a lot of those guys, and they're fat and old, and they have a lot of money, but they lost their health. It's
a sacrifice.
They haven't had experience that I've had. And she was the first one to kind of go, this is all bullshit. She's like, and I was like, yeah, I'm living in Venice. And she's like, what do you do? And I was like, and I do CrossFit. She's like, my boyfriend owns the CrossFit Malibu. And I was like, how crazy is this?
That is.
So that's how we met. We should have.
And by then I was already listening to the show.
We probably.
When did you start? 2011 or 12? Somewhere in there.
So we're, I think, 7 years old now. So
yeah, 2011.
So I should have mentioned that at the beginning of the show. But thank you guys for listening. Check out New Wave Swim Buoy. Pick yourself up one of those at newwaveswimbuoy.com or on Amazon. Get one. Use the code WODcast1 for 10% off. And also, if you're going to try CBD oil, the very best out there is Midroll. And a lot of people have seen. Oh, it's not Midroll. It's I'm sorry, I said the name wrong. Medterra, MEDTERRA, Medterra.com. And I'm telling you, if you're going to do it and you are looking for, and tons of people have seen many, many, many significant results by using this, I would just recommend the best one, which is Medterra. And if you want 15% of that, go use the discount code WOD at medterra.com, MEDTERRA.com. Do us a favor, rate, review, comment on iTunes. Check out us on Facebook. And you can listen to Armin's always giving you good information on Arm & Hammer TV. And Scott has the Sisu Way if you want to check that out. And my other show's The Bingle Show, and I'm touring. So check out all my tour dates at eddyift.com. That's eddyift.com. And I'm at eddyift on all other social media. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.